Thank you very much, Gregory, for this very concise and clear presentation. For all participants that have precise questions, we will display the contact email address of Bart and Gregory on the screen after this presentation and question and answer session. And you can ask us your questions anytime by using the contact us form on the website. If you would like to stay updated on our activities, we invite you also to sign in to the button My ERA Profile, which you find on top or the very bottom of every website page. Yeah, let us now continue with the questions. Thank you very much for sending us so many questions. We will try to bundle them and then answer the different topics. Let us now take the first question. Which arguments will help me convincing my Department of Safety Culture being essential to our everyday's work, as well as to the successful implementation of ETCS projects? Gregory or Bart, who will answer, please?
I think in your communication, it's important to focus on the fundamentals. So make sure that everyone understands what the main railway risks are and what actually the introduction of ETCS means for the daily business, so that you understand the operation at the front line. And if you take this into account, I think systematically, ETCS will be accepted in your safety culture.
And maybe to complement about the convincing arguments to be elaborated for convincing the senior managers, the key decision makers. I believe often safety and operations are seen as competing goals. And of course, I think there is a challenge to demonstrate how safety investments can also bring profit, punctuality. And yes, this is a struggle, everyday struggle, but that's how I think you would convince reluctant decision makers to develop a safety culture program.
Thank you. There is another question related to this, asking what are the success factors of a safety culture improvement program, in particular in railway companies?
Well, it makes a nice link with the previous question, actually, because to have the commitment of senior managers and I would say key individuals across the organization is key, definitely. And I would so I would say that a safety department launching a cultural change program really needs this senior managers commitment, sponsor, support, because you definitely need to assign resources and as well as an important, consistent communication plan to raise awareness of the importance of safety and safety culture within the organization. So that's definitely a key success factor, and try to engage all staff in the design of such a program and the implementation of the program.
This brings us to the role of the national safety authorities, the NSAs. What is their role vis-à-vis safety culture in particular? Bart?
So national safety authorities, through their normal activities of certification, supervision, whether they like it or not, they influence the development of safety culture in the sector. What they focus upon will become important for the sector. So if they consistently focus on rule compliance, then rule compliance will become important for railway undertakings. If, on the other hand, they focus on the need to understand the reality in the field and what it actually means to run a railway system and what the risks are related to that, then the focus of their stakeholders will shift to that. So they have an important role to play, not directly by assessing safety culture, but mainly by influencing safety culture for a good or for a bad, in a good or in a bad way.
Thank you, Bart. There are some more questions from our participants, which are related to other industries. Do you think that the European Railway Safety Culture model can be applied to other industries? For instance, it is known, for instance, that aerospace has a strong safety culture, and safety management systems have been established there already since a long time. Has the European Railway Safety Culture model looked at other sectors, such as aviation? And is it interesting for ERA to make comparisons with other industries? This is one part of the question. The second part of the question is if ERA is in contact with other railway authorities or railway organizations outside of Europe on this safety culture topic.
Thank you, Dorothea, and thank you for the participants to raise these questions. So 2 questions, as you said. First one, yes, we did a comparison, a benchmarking, and we considered other models, whether they were let's say academic models, very famous, like James Reason, for example, or a more sectorial model, and I have in mind the nuclear with the IAEA models or the WANO models, or even the aviation that was also said. We very early when designing the program, we developed partnerships with expert institutions or institutions that were quite recognized working on safety culture. We established partnership very early with Eurocontrol, especially for also some activities related to just culture. We also established very fruitful partnerships with ICSIS, the Institute for an Industrial Safety Culture, with whom we have signed a memorandum of understanding. So ICSIS is a French institute that had been working in all kind of industries for 15 years, and more specifically on safety culture. And we have also have ad hoc cooperation with the World Association of Nuclear Operators, where we support them in implementing safety culture assessments. So definitely we are looking to other sectors to learn, because we are aware that this is quite a challenging concept, and we really need to not to stay to have a narrow view of it. So that was the first part. The second one is about the application, as I understood the question of the model in other sectors. We definitely believe, and it also makes a link with another question that I read, like isn't it a bit complicated? Like you have 24 or more than 20 components of the model. I don't think it's that complicated. I think the model has different visualizations. So really the 3 building blocks can explain how to develop a positive safety culture from any organizational culture. And this can definitely be applied in all sectors. And then you need, in order to do an assessment or to be more practical, because this is quite high-level principles, you need to low down a little bit to be more empirical, not more practical. We needed the attributes. And the attributes, I think most of them are clearly applicable to all industries, even though they are really, we used really the railway context to formulate those.
Thank you, Gregory. We have some more questions relating to the model as such. For instance, how will the model be affecting supervision activities? How will safety culture implementation be measured? Are there surveys, questionnaires? Do you have any idea for this? Yes.
Yes. So we have done a pilot, so we know how it works, and here again we have been using the state-of-the-art implemented in other sectors. Again, as many of you know, safety culture really started with Chernobyl, unfortunately, and this leads to important developments in nuclear, and more specifically regarding the assessment part. So we did those benchmarking to elaborate appropriate methodologies to capture safety culture information, assess the safety culture. So you have mainly 2 parts, and the data collection part and the data analysis. And data collection, all professionals agree that it needs to be made using several different approaches, 7 different methods. And so you clearly, first one is you need to collect information and documentation. But most importantly, you also need to have interviews and focus groups to capture information about perceptions and about what people think and how people act. So this is another way that, another way to capture this is also observations. And also, it has been written, you also have a survey, can be a very good input, survey on the risk perceptions of staff. So there is here a number of features to be fulfilled in order to have a good survey. I mean, it should target all staff clearly. And so for the pilot at NJ in Denmark, we have conceived already safety culture survey anyway, with questions that can relate to our attributes, so that then this makes a coherence. The climate survey really informs the attributes of the model. So this supports the analysis and finally the reporting, the building of the safety culture picture, as we say.
Yes, we see. So if participants would like to have more detailed information on this safety climate survey, they can contact you or send their question through our website, I suppose. Yes. There is another question relating to the certification. How does the elaborated safety culture model affect my current certification and assessments with, for instance, TÜV? Will it take place in some EN standards, or is it binding in any formal way? Is this perhaps a question for you, Bart?
So the fourth railway package has introduced the importance of safety culture. And then the new CSM on SMS has put some requirements. And one of the requirements is to have a strategy to improve safety culture. But we will not go into a way of further regulating safety culture because I think it will not work. There's also no legal obligation or no basis to impose this model. What we want to establish with our safety culture program is to come to a common understanding, a common language of what it is, safety culture, and how safety culture is important for a sustainable safety management. And we will put tools available to help operational companies and to help authorities to deal with this concept, but we will not go, and I think because simply it's not possible to regulate safety culture. Safety culture is something that develops when people come together and try to achieve a common goal. But it's not because you put a line in legislation or in a standard that you can actually define what safety culture will be.
Thank you, Bart. Connected to this is a question how NSAs can support to improve, to attain a positive railway safety culture in railway organizations in their country. What can the national safety authorities do?
As described during the presentation, the national safety authorities, most of them are already engaged most of them believe in the concept and organize events to raise awareness of the concept, and we support them. I referred in my presentation to some events that we have jointly organized to promote the concept and help them. So that's one part, a pedagogical role, I would say. The other one is also to design supervision activities in order to consider the impact they can have on safety culture. And for that, we definitely help them as well, and we have some cooperation with some of them. And we have recently established two-day training. So we have distinguish different types of strategies on how to influence the safety culture. It's very good work done by my colleagues Clarisse and Bart mainly, and they have distinguished 3 different types of strategies through which that can be implemented by the national safety authorities, and we have very powerful training materials for the NSAs to get more acquainted with those practices.
There are a few more questions related to our current situation. According to you, which would According to you, which would be the impact of the COVID-19 crisis upon the evolution of safety culture assessment programs in railway organizations, especially due to eventual cost reductions?
Well, first reaction on that, what I see some of the positive aspects of the crisis. Definitely, the fact, and it's also linked with a question that was raised in the Q&A about the resilience. I believe so. Resilience is both physical and psychological term originally, which refers to the capacity to react to traumatic events. So this is more the psychological part, but it is also true for material, how they react to some shocks. And for organization is also refers to the capacity to face unexpected and traumatic events. And most of the companies, I think for most of the companies, they have shown capacity to that, or they are at least improved the capacity to react to such events. So that's a link that could be done between the current situation and the model. And another one is, and what we are doing today is a demonstration as well. The current crisis has a strong impact in our way of working in the organization of the work, and this is also clearly this can clearly be seen as positive learnings.
Yes, I see. There are some other questions. What do you see as the biggest challenge with sustaining momentum during culture change? Would you agree that safety awareness is a prerequisite for creating the required safety culture?
I think safety awareness is definitely one of the elements, and it's what we've tried to cover in our first fundamental. But what I think is maybe the biggest challenge is to have the commitment of your senior management. Every cultural change project relies on the commitment of your senior management. As long as you don't have that in a sustained way, I think your change project is doomed to fail. But if you have that, I think you have a sound basis to start working and to continue over a longer period.
So what would be the proper way to improve this awareness and to improve the confidence inside the company in order to increase the communication, which is a fundamental point of the safety culture model? Gregory? Albert?
Yes. Can you repeat the question?
Yes. So what would be the proper way? What would be a good way to improve the confidence inside the company in order to increase the communication, which is a fundamental point of the safety culture model, to improve the safety culture?
I think openness and trust. So it all starts with your commitment of senior management, that they want to hear the truth, that they want to know what is happening, and then you will have the necessary starting point to start discussing the operational problems related to safe operations in an open and trustful way. And once you get there, and this is possible, I think you will have a sound basis to improve your safety culture.
Yes, and to complement, thanks Dorothea for repeating the question, and to give a complement to that, because this is key also in all industries, reporting culture. So to build confidence, what you expect and what you want to have is to have report, and the majority of the systems that do not work, why they do not work, the reporting systems, is because reporting is not provided. The feedback to those to the staff who do the report is not provided. So this is really terrible. This is about perception of the staff sometimes, that when they do report, they need to see the impact of their reporting. This is really, I think, a strong message, a strong success factor for also building this confidence and this reporting culture.
Thank you, Gregory. Thank you, Bart. Thank you very much. I'm sure we can discuss this interesting topic for many more hours. However, as a last topic of this discussion, I would like to address the question, what is ERA preparing on safety culture activities for the months to come? The 2 days training that has been designed by ERA, for instance, already, is it limited to the national safety authorities only? Or if not, how could a railway organization in Europe adopt such a training? So it is the trainings which ERA is provided, the materials we are providing, if there will be language versions available, more information on the safety culture model, etc.
Sure. So I was giving this example on this 2-day training is dedicated for NSAs and for inspectors. But we are definitely designing other and proposing other trainings. We started and we elaborated a very, very powerful, I believe, safety leadership training. We tested this training with really operational companies. It was more than 1 year ago with Thalys, with VR Group, with Irish Rail. They are so it's a very effective training made up with several pedagogical tools using a real film that reveals an accident that actually happened in a small company, so that people can really relate to the accidents. And this is clearly a contributing factor of this training, the emotional means that are used for this training. So it's a 1-day training in which we discuss really the role of leaders, why we really need safety leaders across the organization. Of course, on the top of the organization, but also not only on the top. We need all managers to be leaders, but we need more than that. And so this is a training that we are proposing to all railway companies. Don't hesitate to contact us for that. We have to make it a more effective tool and a more effective deployment. We have also designed a train the trainer approach, because of course our resources are limited to target an important amount of stakeholders. So we have train the trainers so that we can also raise the skills, the companies, the competence within your companies. So that is one aspect. Don't hesitate to contact us to know more about that. And if you allow, Dorothea, 2 things. I also saw a question on the what I call the Japanese pointing and calling. So and I saw so just it is a technique really so invented by the Japanese railways. So it's really started from the railways. We say during this webinar that we have to learn from nuclear aviation and so on, but they can also learn from railways. This is what happened because so it consists in having workers calling the risk, pointing at the risk really with their fingers. And if you go to Tokyo, you take the metro, you will see that, or the train, you will see that, and calling the status of the risk, of the hazard. And this has shown to be very, very effective method. Google it, go on the internet, you will see very good videos of this method. Okay, so yeah, just I would like to say, so I believe this is the end, Dorothea. So I would like to thank you all for this great experience, and I'm happy to have further cooperation with you in the near future.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Gregory. Bart, is there anything you would like to add to the discussion?
So also from my side, thank you very much for joining the webinar. I know that a lot of questions that we received in the Q&A were not specifically addressed. That was a bit difficult, but please liaise with us. We're looking forward to hear from you and see how we can help. So thank you.
At the end of this webinar, my special thanks go to my IT colleagues, in particular Stavrula, to make this first webinar possible. Thank you to you all for participating and for your interest in ERA's activities. Don't hesitate to contact us. Contact either Bart or Gregory directly, or contact us via the webpage. We remain available for all questions you may have. I hope you enjoyed this webinar, and I hope you will join us for the next webinar in June. Please regularly visit our website, as all webinars, all topics, all news will be announced on the ERA website. Last but not least, we would be very grateful to receive your feedback. You will find a link on this event page to do this. We wish you a very pleasant day from the entire ERA team, and hope to see you soon again. Bye-bye.